What's going on, boys? No guys here. Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video I'm going to show you how to break down park the bus with my 4-2-3-1 formation, but this one has two strikers. I'm going to explain to you how the D-pad tactic works and how everything works together. The most important thing is make sure you watch the initial video on my channel. So if you haven't watched the video on how the 4-2-3-1 works, it's important you watch that one because that explains how the centre back becomes a striker. That is what's very important. I'm going to go through everything. I've got my control on the screen at the bottom so you can see what I'm doing. I'll be using default controls. I'm apart from my tackling button, which will be circle, which will be X, should I say. And in terms of the blob on the screen, as you can see, a little blob, it may seem irritating to some, but that is my actual eye tracker. So if you are watching this video, make sure you watch this video in 1080p. That way you can see the eye tracker in its full form. We're going to go over just the tactics quickly, 1 second. As I said, refer back to the video. As I said, in the tactics you can use 5 and 5. I know I suggest some of you can use 4, so I'll just, for this example, I'll go ahead and use 4. Again, most important thing, both CDMs stay back while attacking, and the centre back on stay back while attacking, and the left back and right back. It's important the left back and right back on stay back while attacking as well. And don't forget, it has to be on long ball. The question I also get asked is, can you use oops, that's the wrong formation. Can you use people ask, can you use fast build-up play? You can. The fullback does run forward much quicker, but you want it to be on long ball. And don't forget, we have Vieira and Mendy at centre back. I'm just going to kick the ball out of play just so the formation resets. Okay, the most important thing is, people ask is, why can't that player be an actual striker? Well, you see, the problem is that player can't be a... By the way, we are currently 16-1 or 17-1, our record is. So hopefully, fingers crossed, is actually a good player, hopefully elite plus. But yeah, the most important thing is the actual, as you can see next to Vieira, as you can see, that's Mendy. So the issue is that if you put a striker there or something like that, they need to be able to defend. As you can see, Mendy is there, so they need to be able to defend. So that's the most important thing. You can't have someone who doesn't know how to defend, because then that person is going to be playing in centre back. Now, the most important thing is the D-pad tactic. Now, you can play the 4-2-3-1 normally, how you play a 4-2-3-1, and nothing else will change. The D-pad tactic then acts as a light switch. So if you turn the D-pad tactic on extra striker, now what this means is every single time I get ball possession, the player would run forward. So when I'm defending, as you can see, my centre back, he still stays in shape. As you can see, Mendy, it's only when I go forward. Now this is the thing, he won't run forward immediately. It'll take a bit of transition. As you can see, Mendy is running forward just a little bit there, and as you can see, De Jong is now dropped into CDM. So now I'm into centre back. So I got Vieira, and then I got Kante in CDM, and I got De Jong just back there. Now Mendy, as you can see, is just over there. I don't know if you can see him, he's just over there. Now you got the two striker formation. Now don't forget, you have 2 cams and the extra striker, so it ends up becoming like a diamond 3. Now this is the most important thing. This player, you need to put someone like Mendy here or someone like Trent, because they need to be able to dribble and be able to shoot. And that's why I put Mendy there. And the most important thing is just use them as you see fit. If, for example, you put your Lamb and your Ram on balanced, as I told you to, they're going to be able to fill in the pockets of space. So it'll be playing a 4-2-3-1 with the extra striker up front. If, for example, you lose the ball, as you can see, your centre back will return back to position, but it will take some time. So that is why when they go forward, it does take some time for them to go forward. So do bear that in mind when you do have the extra striker option. It will take some time for that centre back to go backwards. Now, it's going to be quite a mundane game, and this will be against a better player, but this is just an accurate representation to show you how to do it. Again, you can see Mendy going forward again, as you can see. I made a mistake by making a pass there, but Mendy was going forward, and as you can see, Mendy is now going back. So he will go back and forth on his own. You don't have to drag him or push him back manually, or he'll just go back himself. So don't worry too much about Mendy going out of position. What you can do to accelerate the process, if you find that Mendy is standing still, you can just do a 1-2 back like that, and you can force him out of position like so. But I wouldn't risk doing that, because the AI is actually pretty smart. AI will only move the player if there's a space available. So if AI decides, okay, you know what, you're out of your own half and you're in your opponent's final, or you go into your opponent's final third, then you will go forward. So it's mainly in the attacking phase. So that's one thing to bear in mind. Of course, depending on whichever player you have, it might differ. Got Ribéry there, it's probably going to be a goal. Made a big mistake there. This guy seems like a good player anyway. So it will be a good example again. So as you can see, Mendy is going forward there as well. So even from goal kick, you can actually see Mendy's already gone up. So from the set piece itself, you can see Mendy has now gone to a strike type. See, he's gone just next to Neymar. As you can see, I got the diamond, or should I say the triangle. And also, so Mendy, and as I said, set pieces, Mendy will reset and you'll go back forward again. So do bear that in mind. So as you can see, Mendy's over here. And then what I'm going to do is just going to select this player. As you can see, my opponent is man marking me very well. And as you can see, once I get the ball back, Mendy's going to rise forward again. See that? See how Mendy's now going forward. And don't forget, he'll also, when he goes forward, he doesn't run forward aimlessly. He actually takes up good position. So if, for example, you have no striker available, Mendy will kind of just go into a striker. Or let's say, for example, you have the ball with your striker and your striker is like in a cam position. So let's say, for example, like here, as you can see, Mendy's my extra striker. But let's say, for example, I had the ball with Neymar, Mendy will fill in that void. So that's important. So Mendy won't just stick as a striker all the time. He'll actually help you. Because the issue is with some formations, the striker just stands there and does nothing. But at least in this formation, Mendy does actually fill in the pockets of space. So again, gonna run and jockey. Gonna run backwards here. And as I said, this would be against a good player as well. So what you might see here is mundane, but this is typically how a better player will be playing against themselves. Get the ball there. Now again, we're going to wait for Mendy to go forward. So we're going to play normally now. So now we're going to ignore Mendy, forget Mendy's even in the game. And the key is just to play normally. So against a good player, what you typically do is switch the ball. Most attacks all derive from a wing type position like this. And as you can see, Mendy's running inside the box. So now I've got 4 strikers inside the box. So if you're like over here, you're in trouble, you can go back, advance back to your centre back like so. And as you can see, De Jong, he's playing that role with Kante in midfield. And as you can see, Mendy's up front. As you can see, Mendy over there. And as you can see, what happens is that because Mendy goes forward, it creates a situation where your opponent has too many players to defend. Naturally speaking, your opponent will have 2 centre-backs. Now, when you have 3 strikers and a lamb and a ram, your opponent's back forward gets muddled up. So your opponent will have a back 4, but because he's got a 5v4, that means one player is always going to be free. It's up to you to find the player that is free. Let's just try to defend the situation. So it's up to you to find the player that is free, and that is what's very important. Going to defend the situation over here. And as you can see, my opponent is very astutely outside my box. Trying to find an angle so you can do a first time fake shot or pass the ball to the striker. So I'm just going to man mark the striker here. This is the best way of defending, unfortunately. It is what it is, but I need to get the ball back so I can show you. I'm going to press a little bit, not too much. As you can see, that's why it's not even worth pressing. I'm going to do a through ball now. Go down the wing, do a ball all the way. Okay, now I'm going to switch the ball now to my left back. And as you can see, Mendy's now in midfield, you see. So Mendy realizes, okay, there's no one in midfield. So he fills that void and then he goes forward. You see that? So then he goes forward. Then you can see Mendy, the extra striker. Then you can play a 1-2 off him. And you see how Ribéry was free there? You probably didn't see that, but if you watch that back, you can see that Ribéry was unmarked because what happened was there was 2 centre-backs and one centre-back was manually being controlled and you had to mark the other player. Again, going to mark the middle. And defensively, as I said, the transition is not bad because, as I said, once you lose the ball, Mendy or your centre-back will go back into position. As I said, it depends on your centre-back. Different centre-backs work a bit differently. In this situation, as I said, against a better player who knows how to take advantage of it, it still does work. The most important thing as well, as I said, is don't forget he's on stay back while attacking. If you are winning or the game is going your favour and you're 1 or 2 goals ahead, I would recommend turning off. So if you find, for example, your opponent is, for example, exploiting the fact that you have a fullback or in this case a centre back on during the attack, you can just manually turn it with a D-pad tactic. That's the idea. You have the full control of it. So if you find, for example, your opponent is playing very well and you're in trouble, or maybe let's say, for example, you want to defend the last couple of minutes, what you can do is you can turn the extra striker button off, and that means that Mendy will no longer go forward. And that's why I decided to do it via the control of the D-pad tactic, because you see, if you do it with the actual centre-backs during the attack, you can't control it. There's no control. So for something like kickoff, you can, if you really want to, turn it off that way. If you do win the ball back, just to ensure you don't get screwed over by kickoff, the rebound, you can have the player to go back. As you can see, oh, would have been a very good goal. Going to break up the wall. Going to make a run pass. Going to man mark that player making a run. I'm going to run to Neymar. We had the angle covered. We just broke up the wall there. So again, and you can turn it on as well. And don't forget, it is pretty reactive. As you can see, as soon as I press it, Mendy does go forward as well, as you can see on the radar. And as you can see, that's the front 5 in order. So again, Mendy over there, he's filling in a pocket of space, as you can see, because there's no one there. So he doesn't aimlessly go forward, he actually does something. And then when he's in a good position, then he goes forward completely. Again, you can do a 1-2 Mendy to push him forward all the way. That's how you force him out of position. Through ball. Nice pass from Mendy. Now you see Neymar there. Very unlikely the ball didn't go through, but you see how Neymar again was almost considered unmarked. Now the good thing is when Mendy has the ball as well, your players react to Mendy as well, which is also important. Again, I'm going to go back. Play safe. There's Mendy, as you can see. Mendy going forward again. Now sometimes Mendy won't go forward. Mendy won't go forward if the game deems that it's not a worthy, complete worthy opportunity. As I said, it depends on the work rates as well. But that's why I recommend Mendy. I'm pretty sure all of you guys have done Mendy as well, so it should work very well. It's going to play normally now. Ignore Mendy now. You can see him there. You can see now we've got a 3v2 situation. So as you can see over there, in that series of play, if you go back and watch that video, if you skip back like 20 seconds, you would have seen there that Mendy just went completely forward over there, and it created a 3v2 situation with the two strikers. Run down the wing now. Nice, well played for my opponent there. Gonna man mark the guy in the middle. Gonna man mark the cutback, because that's the most obvious thing to man mark. Switch the ball. Pass back into the middle. Not what kind of pass that was. Again, gonna go through the middle again. Because again, Mendy's not going forward yet. Then once Mendy finds a viable attacking opportunity and we have regained control of the ball, then he goes forward, as you can see. Pass the ball short. As you can see, Mendy as well. There you can see running from deep. You see him there? And then when he runs in, he doesn't... Oops, very unlucky there. Ooh, my pass meant to go down to the striker. And as I said, to be honest, look, I could have showed you a game where I was winning 4-5-0 very easily, which I can show you most of the time. But to be honest, I know most of you guys see that anyway, and it's not a realistic expectation if I show you against a player that doesn't know what they're doing. Against events, I will presume this guy is at least an elite player, judging by my ELO rating. And he does seem to know what he's doing to some extent. Fake shot around. Yeah, got him. I've read that. Through ball down the wing. Okay, let's finish this game off now. Gonna do the driven through ball down the wing over there. Gonna do a ball all the way. Get away from him. Back to my right back. Now this is the key position you want to put them in. Now Mendy is advanced forward. You can use De Jong, and don't forget De Jong will drop just a little bit deep, as I mentioned. This is where you can use Mendy to its full form. As you can see now, Mendy has now gone up with my two strikers. As you can see, Mendy is literally playing striker right now, as you can see. And this is how you create the confusion, because once you have basically this trio up front, it's hard to mark every single player. As you can see from that goal, what happened was Mendy was in striker alongside Neymar. What happened is that Ribery drew out another player. Then when there was a 3v... See, the key thing is with an extra striker, it stays in front of the CDM. Typically speaking, a cam or a CDM on get forward will normally hovertate behind the opponent's CDM, so your opponent is fine, because what happens is your opponent realizes, okay, he's got two strikers, so what? He's got no one in that cam position. And most of the time that cam is basically behind the defenders. But as you can see, Mendy made that run in behind a very pivotal position, and again, he didn't know how to defend against it, and I had that one player free. So remember, one guy will always be free. It's up to you to find that player. And again, as you can see, I'm winning, so what I can do now is I can turn this off, as you can see, so I can turn off the deep tactic. What you can do as well, you can use hug the sidelines as well as extra striker. Now what this will do is that will mean that your left attacking mid and your, well, let me just try to defend this first before I try explaining it. That means your left attacking mid and your right attacking mid will spread out, and it'll create more space for your striker up front. We're going to get kickoff here, waiting for it, man marking the striker. Waiting for the space, looking at Ribery. Got him. Oh, I tackled him. I almost got screwed there. I actually tackled him perfectly. This is what I like to call typical. This is what the Elite 3 players do. The ones on the edge of Elite 3. They end up doing the similar things or the same things outside the box. So it's very easy to predict what they're doing. Almost got screwed there though. I'm going to do an L1 trigger again. So what I was saying is you can use hug the sidelines as well if you want to make the team even wider. I might just take the risk now and show you, because I don't really need a win. But I'll show you, for example, like now. So you can use hug the sidelines, and what this will do, this will make your left attacking mid, right attacking mid really, really wide. and you'll have more attacking options down the middle. As you can see, Mendy is completely unmarked. As you can see, there's nothing you can do about it, because a Lamb and a Ram, they take up these really wide positions. So that means you have 3 strikers together in like a triangle, and it almost makes it very hard for your opponent to beat you. And that's why it's a benefit over the the 5-2. For example, like let's say the 3-5-2, right? 3-5-2. You have 2 strikers and a cam, but you don't have that Lamb and a Ram. So they're not as centralized as this formation. So that's why the most important thing is the 4-2-3-1 is definitely the best formation in the game. There is no doubt about that. And to get the extra striker option, it makes it one of the best. In fact, I would love to see this be used by a pro player. I think a pro player could use this formation very well if they know how to abuse the mechanics correctly, which I'm pretty sure most pro players know what they're doing. And obviously, don't forget they're playing to win. It can be very, very effective for them. We shouldn't have done that actually, because now my opponent can get the ball. I'm going to shield the ball now. That's it, game's done. I said, oops, game, come on. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's game done. Anyway, that is how to use the 4-2-3-1. As I said, look, I showed you a game against a good player. It's no point showing you a game against some gold 1 or gold 2 or gold 3 player. Of course, they're very good, but they don't know how to defend. There's no point showing you this. But again, the most important thing is we're going to go back to the goal type situation. As you can see, what happened over here is, we'll very quickly show it to you. That's Mendy, and that is Neymar, and that is Ribery. What happened is that Neymar was over here, and he's on stay central. Ribery then came forward to collect the ball. Mendy came forward to collect the ball, and as you can see, once Mendy has the ball, there's a situation where your opponent has a very tough decision, because as you can see, there is 2 strikers up against the 3 players. And then once you're in that situation, it does create confusion. It will take you some time to get used to. You may have to get used to it, and it will take you some time. Indeed, that is not one with a doubt. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out, boys.